Howdy legends, Zephyr here and welcome back to another Apex Legends Pro Guides video. Today, we're looking at how to read your enemies like a book. Get inside their heads, understand their every move, and exploit their weaknesses for your own gain. We're going to look at baiting teams, understanding third parties, and handling those tricky 1v3 situations. Let's get into it after a question of the day. Which legend do you main and why? Let us know in the comment section below. Third-party mechanics. In any battle royale, people naturally want a third party. We've all done it. It becomes a vicious cycle. People don't like to take 3-on-3 fights because they're scared they might get thirded. And when a 3v3 does happen, people tend to swarm on it like piranhas. But you can absolutely exploit this and get inside your opponent's head to take advantage. Let's look at an example. In this clip, two fights have just taken place at the same time. The fight in Cascade Falls is still going on after the nearby fight had just finished. In this situation, you're not involved in either fight, but you are in the middle of them. Now that one fight is just finished, what do you think the winning team is going to do? Remember, people love the third party. So, of course, as soon as they've reset, shield swapped, etc., they are hurtling towards Cascades to come and third party this fight. If you chose to third party the fight, you're just going to get pinched and slammed into it from the other team. Now swallow your pride, everyone, but the best play here is to rat. Do your best leaf impression and get in that tree, become one with a nearby rock, or simply just sit still. In Apex, players are much like the T-Rex. If you don't move, they're probably not going to see you. Now, you're doing your best coconut impression, just chilling in the trees as they charge straight past you. Now you've got free shots in the back and also the element of surprise. They're so focused on thirding, they're never gonna expect to see you there. Remember, sometimes hiding is a valid option. This is a pretty specific scenario, but you can also recreate it. I'm sorry, these tips aren't gonna make you popular, but they do work. The way that players understand that there is a fight to third is from audio. They hear the sounds of guns' abilities and they use that to pinpoint the location and clean it up. You can recreate this audio yourself, of course, though, and lure a team in. Think of yourself like the flame and your opponent's the moth. If you make it seem like a fight, they'll come and you can be lying in wait to get the jump on them. Shoot your guns. You'll need to sell it, so make sure it's not just one quick spray. However, this usually isn't enough. If you really want to sell it, grenades and Valkyrie missiles are the absolute best. A couple of grenades, a few mags of gunshots, and nearby teams are going to be running in, smug as anything, thinking they've got a fight to clean up. Little do they know, you're sat in the corner lying in wait for them. You can also engineer third-party situations. This works especially well in the endgames. You might be in the final three or in an isolated area with two other teams. Now you see a team rotating right towards the other, and they're in the open. It's practically free shots. But think about what they'll do if you shoot them. They'll panic, realize they're exposed, and probably run back to where they came from. They might have not even known about you, and you were pushing that team thinking it was safe. Or they'll just die in the open, leaving you to a straight 3v3 versus the other squad. Now, what's better than a straight 3v3? You guessed it, third partying. If you leave that team alone, they're going to do you a huge favor and push the other squad. Then you can move in and clean it up, hopefully removing both teams at the same time. All because you let the opportunity to get a couple of kills go, you win the game and engineer a situation that's beneficial for you. Third partying is your friend. Understand when third partying will happen, don't let it happen to you, and take advantage of it. Who's better to give you extra advice on how to read your enemies like a book than Apex Predators? ProGuides has expert Apex Predator coaches on deck to advance your gameplay. They can help spot flaws, give you detailed knowledge, and direct you on how to best spend your time to take your Apex ability to the next level. ProGuides is your one-stop shop for all things Apex Legends. As well as high-quality coaches, there are in-game tips, tricks, and guides suitable for any level of player. So whatever your gameplay needs, we've got you covered. Why not sit down with an Apex Predator and get their opinion on how they take advantage of their opponents, get inside their head, and exploit them? Check out the link in the description, and let's go! I'm sorry. This next tip is going to be tickling the top end of the ratometer again. But sadly, ratting is just a really effective way to take advantage of your opponents. In the new, tough, ranked reloaded mode, anything goes to gain RP. You'll see rat plays and some moves that Reddit might class as cringe at the highest level of ALGS. If you get flamed, just let their hatred make you stronger. In this clip, the team is holding inside the building. Now, with the large amount of Valks at higher level gameplay, you can expect that as the zone moves in, someone's gonna want to come and take his valuable building to wait out the endgame. Usually, I'd advise showing a good presence in making sure that teams don't come and land on you. If there are other teams nearby, they'll just come and, you guessed it, third party your fight. But in this situation, no one is nearby, and as if by magic, a team lands on the roof of this building. Now comes the crucial moment. Don't make a sound. The enemy will assume that this building is free, and two of them will run in without a care in the world. A great tip for any Apex situation is isolating enemies away from their team, shutting the door as they ran in, isolating two players. This meant that they could be dealt with before you take on the final squad mate. Honestly, catching people off guard like this is a very powerful tool. Only the most paranoid of players would even consider that you'd be there. I'd personally be absolutely dead in this situation. Someone jumping out of a corner would probably scare me so bad I'd hit my ceiling. ProGuides, of course, though, takes no responsibility if you give your opponents a heart attack playing like this. Also, do be careful where you sit. There's nothing funnier than someone trying to rat sat right by a huge window. If you didn't know that glass is see-through, well, I suppose you're welcome. Remember, this only works if you make no noise. Also, consider who's nearby and if you could be thirded. 1v3 situations. 1v3 situations or even 1v2 situations can be tricky to handle. Excelling in these is a super valuable skill and can really make the difference in your gameplay. Now you have to predict your opponents perfectly. The first thing to focus on is trying to take isolated fights, taking on one player at a time and then thirsting and shield swapping. This is why playing inside the building, around the objects, and cover is much better than taking the height. There's no cover on the roof and all the enemy team will be able to see you up there. By playing around objects, bobbing and weaving, you can get everyone alone and deal with them individually. In this specific situation, when the fight is reduced down to a 1v1, you find yourself on the low ground and in the open. Pretty rough. But where is the enemy going to be? This is where you need to get in their head. If they know where you are, they're going to want to be above you. If they don't know where you are, they're going to want to take a position that will help them find where you're at. So we can work out where they're going to be on the height. This gives them the advantage for sure, so how can we use our knowledge to our advantage? Throwing a sky nade, a Kobe, whatever you call it, onto the roof. This will either damage them and give you the opening to quickly climb up and dispatch them, or it will make them move. They could see it coming and be forced to move to the edge of the roof or drop totally, giving you the advantage and the opportunity to get some shots off, close the gap, and reduce their advantage. Remember, this opportunity only arises from knowing they'll be on the roof before they're lasering you with a Spitfire from that position. I'll be honest, there are so many more situations we could cover, but to truly read your enemies like a book, you have to really get in their heads. What are they going to do? How will they play this and that? If you do something, what could their response be? If you consider these questions at all times, you'll stay one step ahead. I've been Zephyr, and until next time, legends.